Good morning. Welcome back to my channel. I'm sure many of you, if you've been watching my channel over the past couple of months, have heard me say many a time, excuse the banging, oh yeah, if you can hear that in the background, that's the builders. So we've been living in a renovation property for the last year, and today I thought I would give you a little tour of our home, I guess. I'm going to do it in two parts. I'm going to do downstairs today, and then I am going to do upstairs next week. Before we start the home tour, I just wanted to say thank you so much to everyone that has subscribed. So I think my last video that I did to camera like this, I said that I was hoping to get to 100 subscribers, which is a huge milestone. I was hoping to do that by the end of August. I am already on 109, so thank you so much if you have subscribed in the last few weeks. Honestly, it means so much to me. So we moved in just about a year ago. As we're going through, I'll insert the before photos, and then I will also show you through the camera what it looks like now, but also insert the after photos, put them side by side so you can see kind of what we've changed, how much we've done, what it now looks like. So again, I think I have mentioned in other vlogs that actually Michael, as a job, so Michael's my boyfriend if you didn't know, as a job, he renovates and restores old properties, either bringing back the character that was once in the property, or enhancing kind of the beauty of the character that is already there. The interior is where his real sort of skills lie. I think he just has an eye for detail. He knows what goes together, what colours look right together, what materials, something that I can't do at all, but it just comes so naturally to him. Whenever anyone comes and visits us and they don't know much about what we do, they automatically think that it's me that has done this. And it's very much not that case. The house we're in now is actually an Edwardian property. You really wouldn't think it from the outside. The red brick has been rendered over, the porch was removed, PVC windows were put in place of sash windows, which makes me so sad. A lot of the character was ripped out to make it look modern. And I guess that was the trend at that time. People didn't want any of that sort of old-fashioned stuff in their houses anymore. So what Michael has done is very much brought elements of that period back into the property. As we're going through the house, you'll see that there is a slight theme, but certain materials have been used throughout the house. So there's a lot of natural wood, plants, so we really wanted to introduce quite a lot of greenery. And there's also quite a lot of industrial touches, and now they're actually quite subtle, so they are in things like the curtain poles, they are in the brackets for the scaffold board shelves. Another theme is where possible and where sort of the light and the room allows it, we've used really, really bold colours. I would say we have been pretty adventurous. So talking of bold colours, I guess you can see in here, this is one of them. Now I debated calling this video the eBay home. We didn't buy the property on eBay. That was bought in a very conventional way via, I was going to say travel agent. That wouldn't be very conventional. We bought it in a very conventional way via an estate agent, but actually the majority of the furniture that you will see in this house has been bought from eBay. I don't know how many times our doorbell rang when the house was being renovated. Anyway, I think I've gabbled on enough now. So I'm going to take you downstairs. We are going to start from the hallway, which I guess makes sense. That's where you enter the house. And I'm just going to give you a little tour of the downstairs, and I'm going to pick out some key bits that I really, really like. Okay, so obviously starting in the hallway, the tiles are probably one of the sort of first things you notice when you come in. Now, these look quite vintage, quite sort of worn. They're actually bought like this. So these are from eBay. Of course, I'm going to be saying that a lot as we go through. But if I give you a little bit of a closer look, it's not perfect, which you'll see as we go through. Michael really doesn't like perfect. I think they are beautiful. We used these in our previous house as well, and they just work really, really nicely to add something extra. They have become quite popular now. You see them quite a lot on Pinterest. They also do them in a pale green. Now, the other obvious thing is the stairs. These are the original stairs, and we've done nothing really to them. We pulled up carpet because the people that were here before had this carpeted, and this was what was underneath. So clearly, over time, people have had a runner here, so a piece of carpet that goes up the middle, and then they've painted either side of that, and the paint colour differs. So actually we did use what we've exposed under here in order to sort of determine the colour within the hallway. When we pulled up the carpet, we were like, yes, this is amazing. A really nice sort of original feature. One of my favourite pieces in the hallway is this coat peg hook. Is that what it's called? This came from an old school, and it was used, I think, for hanging up obviously coats, PE bags. I love the fact that some of the numbers have rubbed off, and also some of the paint is peeling. It's actually perfect for hanging, as you can see. Michael's got his caps on there. We use it for the umbrellas. So we used to use this in our kitchen. So in the last property we were in, we used it in the kitchen for hanging mugs off of. It's just a really nice vintage piece, and quite often people comment on it. I don't know how many times Michael's been asked, how much do you want for that? And he's like, not selling it. Further down the hallway, under the stairs, we've created this sort of kids cubby / reading nook. This has been created with reclaimed timber and left really, really natural. So we have a bulkhead light. These are like the ones that are used on boats. Base cushion is French ticking sackcloth, apparently. And this, as you can imagine, was made to fit. It wasn't something that we could just pick up on eBay. Some things you do have to just pay a little bit more for. But we have then put some cushions in there and some books. And we wanted to keep it as a sort of storage space, which basically under here, we have a handle, and in there, we keep a lot of DIY stuff. There's another little feature. We have painted this door here with chalk paint and made it into a little blackboard for the kids. Obviously the kids didn't do this. This is a bit of Michael's artwork. Although it's a bit random because obviously it's in the hallway under the stairs. It's not naturally somewhere you would sit, but I find it so cosy. Finally, for the hallway, you'll notice that we have a glass panelled door. We don't have those anywhere else in the house. Now, the idea here was that you would be able to see straight the way through to the garden, which I don't think my camera is going to focus, but I can kind of give you a little idea. So yeah, there we go. So you can see straight the way through our dining room, lounge, or you're getting a little sneak peek now, all the way through to the garden at the end. It just makes it feel a lot more spacious, gives a bit of depth, I guess, to the hallway. Off the hallway, at the front of the house, we have our snug. I say snug. It's probably more of a lounge, but now we have an open plan sort of living kitchen dining area. We don't tend to use it as that. this entire section here. So I'll pop a before photo in so you can see, but basically all of this had to be removed. And so in removing it, we just thought that actually we would leave the bricks exposed either side of the chimney breast, and that we would excavate the chimney and the fireplace itself. So exposed brick is one of my favourite sort of looks in a house. I think it adds quite a sort of industrial feel. I know a lot of people will be, oh, it might be cold, it might be a bit sort of, does it not get dirty and dusty? No, is the simple answer to that. If you seal it properly, it will act pretty much just like a normal wall. Now, although it's not messy and dirty when you're living with it like this, I would like to say that the process of actually exposing brick is extremely messy and extremely dirty. If you are going to do it, I recommend buying quite a lot of masks, because otherwise you'll be blowing your nose and finding dust for the next, I don't know, 6 months. It's absolutely disgusting. I don't think it's very good for you either. Now, the first thing you probably notice as you come into this room is the very, very dark green that we have used on the walls. Now, it is very dark, but I think it works because, I mean, look at the size of this window. I know on camera things look a very different colour, but you can probably just make out that that is a dark green. I've got to admit that I would be super nervous painting a room this dark. But Michael was very right when he said, look, it's a pretty light room. We want to make it snug, so let's give it a go. If we don't like it and it doesn't work, we can just paint over it. It really would take quite a lot to paint over it if you did want to take it lighter, but you could definitely change it. Now, the dark colour on the wall has obviously been balanced out slightly by using white on the ceiling and above the picture rails, but we've also used white on the floor, if you can tell, underneath this huge rug. So this is chalk paint, and we've then artificially aged it. So I'm now standing where you would walk into this room. Obviously this part of the floor would get a lot of footfall. So what we've done is artificially sort of age the floor a little bit. If you don't seal it, you can then basically use sandpaper and a scraper to gradually sort of take off some of the chalk paint, and it leaves this kind of finish. This little area here. So we've put a mirror in here and a piece of artwork. There's also a laundry. So basically, this wall here was originally the entrance to the kitchen. So we have bricked up this wall here, and what was the downstairs toilet, which is here, we have made into a laundry. Cute. What we've done in here is put the washing machine and the tumble dryer in here to keep things quiet. I think when you've got an open plan sort of living kitchen area, you really want to make sure that you've put your washing machine, and if you've got a tumble dryer, you want to put those somewhere else. You don't want to be sat in your lounge trying to watch TV when the washing machine is doing its spin. So through the door that I told you about when I was talking about the hallway, the glass panelled one, you can obviously see straight the way through to our dining room, our lounge, and also out to the garden. Room. Now what we decided to do was take this out here. So this originally was a wall, and that was the kitchen. So the kitchen is still in the place where the kitchen was, but what we've done is taken this entire wall out to create a sort of L-shaped living, dining, sort of kitchen area. Okay, so in here, which obviously this space here we're very much using as our dining area, we have sort of, I guess, marked up or differentiated the spaces by the flooring that we've used. So in the dining room, we've done very similar to what we had in the front lounge, which is chalk paint and then distressed the parts that sort of have the most footfall, and then used some navy and white rugs. And then in the lounge, we have used carpet, and in the kitchen, we have tiles. In here, we've done quite sort of a similar look to the front lounge. So we have exposed the alcoves either side of the chimney breast. We have excavated the fireplace and we've just left it open. We've put in, this is a light that we have had, well, ever since I've known Michael, and I'm sure he's probably had it before that. We've always had this light. It's very, very simple. It's just a wooden arrow. It's got a cork board back and it's got tiny little lights in it. It casts a really sort of warm, yellowy glow, and inside the brick, it makes it feel a little bit grotto-like. One of the bits I really like in here, and actually you would have seen it in the front lounge as well, are the scaffold board shelves. Now, these are custom made. We had to get them cut to fit the space. As you can see, they are very natural wood. They are left pretty much as they are. They then put these metal bands on the ends. Love this little detail. You can personalize them. So here you can see, so we've got the house number and the road. And I think that is just such a nice little detail. Another thing to note on the scaffold board shelves is that the brackets that we've used here are quite industrial, really chunky, which is actually very important when you start to get some really quite big books piled on top of them. Okay, so from the dining room into the lounge. Now, like I said, we've kind of differentiated between the spaces by the flooring. So we've gone from the wooden floor with chalk paint into carpet in the lounge. This section is actually an extension, so it's only about 30 years old. The idea in here was not to make it look old, so we went for more of a Scandi feel. Lots of natural, loads of greenery, blues, greys and creams. You might have seen these as we're going through, but this lampshade is probably one of my favourite pieces in the entire house. We've got a couple of them dotted around. You might have seen that we had one over the dining room table. So this is a sort of creamy colour one. And in the lounge we have grey. It is so soft. So it's made of feathers. Oh, I wanted Michael to basically put it a bit lower so that I could just brush my face past it now and again, but he said no. Look how fluffy it is. I absolutely love it. And obviously in here we have put a more decorative ceiling rose in. These feather lights are not from eBay and they are not cheap. I think they're about £300 a go, so we have spent a little bit of money on lighting in here. We also have one in our bedroom, but they make such a statement, and honestly, if you could feel them, they are, oh my god, they're just so soft. Okay, this is a bit of an odd thing to pick out as a favourite, and I guess it's not really a favourite, but I think that it's probably a really good tip. I'm thinking about doing, as an aside, I'm thinking about doing a renovation tips video, so if you'd be interested in that, please let me know below. But in here, we have blinds. They are. I mean, it's quite hard to show you like this with the light coming from behind, but blinds typically can be super expensive. So for a window of this size, and that's a very large lampshade by the way, for a window of this size you're probably looking at about, I think Michael said around £600 for blinds if they were custom fit. Now on eBay, great tip here, on eBay you can go on, put in your dimensions, and you can find these blinds which are wooden slats with thick tapes, as you can see. A choice of colour, you can choose the width of the slats, so you can choose the tape colours as well. This one cost £120, which is a huge bargain. I think they look a little bit like plantation shutters, so that's a win because we all know how expensive those are. And finally, downstairs, well actually no, it's not finally, but the last room that I'm really going to talk about is the kitchen. I just get a really nice feeling in this room. So this is going to be one of the rooms that I will be gutted to leave when we move. Like I said before, here you can see this was where the wall would have been. So it would have been a very separate kitchen. One of the main things you notice about the kitchen first is the colour of the units. They look very smart, I think, anyway. They also don't show any dirt, which in a kitchen is a massive bonus. So it's from Howden's, which, if any of you know, it is trade only, but if you can get a tradesperson to go and get you a Howden's kitchen, it is great quality and also it's actually pretty reasonable. Another tip for you, kitchen companies make a lot of money on appliances. So things like dishwasher, oven, fridge, they make huge amounts of money on that. So what we did was buy the kitchen units from Howden's, and then Michael sourced all of the appliances separately. You'll also notice that we don't have any upper level cupboards. We did that for two reasons. One, because obviously it's a hell of a lot cheaper. But also it makes the kitchen feel a lot more open and spacious. And here we have used a scaffolding board shelf, and then underneath it, in order to hang the mugs, we have put a little rail with hooks, and then above it we've got some of our crockery. The other things you probably notice as you come in the kitchen, other than the colour of the units, is the wallpaper. Now this was put in at a later date. I'll try and find a photo of the kitchen before we put the wallpaper on. It made such a difference. So this is from Murals. They basically just specialise in really cool, funky wallpaper. They've got some amazing ones, especially for kids. It is quite pricey, but when you only need to do one wall, obviously it's not too expensive. Say though, if you are looking for wallpaper similar to this, you may need to get someone who has some pretty decent wallpapering skills. We asked our decorator to do it and he's done such a great job, but you can see here that, so this is where the two pieces join and they need to be lined up so well. Otherwise, the pattern just isn't going to work. I think that concludes. Oh no, I should probably show you what's through that door. Otherwise, I've left something out. Okay, let's do it. Okay, last room. Off the kitchen, because obviously we made the downstairs toilet, what was the original downstairs toilet, into a laundry, we have now created this room into a downstairs toilet. If you're struggling with space, you can get a toilet with a little sink on top of it, which I think is a genius idea. That is everything for part one. I've showed you the entire downstairs of our home. I hope you've enjoyed it or found it interesting or helpful. If you did, please give it the thumbs up below. Join me next week where I will be showing you the rest of the house. We'll be going upstairs. I want to show you the ensuite, which I think is one of my favourite parts of the house. If you're keen to see that, please subscribe. Just press that little red button below, and to be notified, just press the bell. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you again soon. Take care, bye.